Hi, this is Martha from The Curious Mystic, and today I am here with Stu McLellan, who is an artist and has some fabulous pictures in the Sky Whale series that he's going to talk to us about, as well as some mandalas. So hello, Stu, welcome.
Hi, Martha. Thank you for having me.
How would you describe yourself as an artist?
Um, I suppose my particular area of interest is our relationship with the natural world. We've, for me personally, I feel like I've lived much of my life kind of in a very human built environment. And as my life's progressed, I've become more and more interested in life that is beyond our kind of human communities.
Mm.
And what that means for us to be part of that kind of intricate web of relationships. And so I suppose even through a lot of my work for a long time, that has been a kind of an undercurrent. And it feels like over the last maybe 6 months or so, that's kind of risen to the surface much more for me. So my work's very much kind of exploring that. But it has lots of facets. There's kind of humorous work. I do work for children's books and magazines and stuff like that. But I also I'm exploring my own thread of work, which is what I've got some of behind me.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. What inspired your Sky Whale series?
It was really simple, actually, really simple. I'd been working on another piece, not a whale piece, another piece in my studio space, and it was around it had the intention of kind of meditation and stillness about it. So it was exploring those kind of themes. And as I was painting this piece, I felt a really strong presence of a whale in the room, like just behind my field of vision. And its body was full of stars. And I was kind of, it was a really striking image. So I was immediately, down tools and got another piece of paper out and did a quick sketch of this whale. Not a very good sketch. I wasn't kind of referring to any source material, so I wasn't getting anything kind of anatomically right or anything like that. But I just made a quick sketch of two whales, one with the stars within its body and the other whale with the stars surrounding its body.
Yeah.
And then put it to one side and went back to the piece of work that I was working on and finished that. And I think perhaps a day or two later, went back to that initial drawing. And I just felt like it was kind of needing me to stop and to attend to it and to draw it and paint it. So that was the first one. I drew a blue whale, maybe 30 centimeters long, something like that. And in a very different style and process to the one that I normally engage with. So it was a whole kind of like, well, I was going to say a shake-up. It wasn't really a shake-up. It was a very gentle shake-up, but it was definitely a kind of directional change for me. So yeah, that was the start point.
And what does it mean to you that the stars inside the whale? Because in case people can't see properly, the pictures show different kinds of whales, and they actually say the whale is the night sky, isn't it? And is covered with stars. So what does that symbolize for you?
What does it mean? Well, I'm still unraveling that, to be quite honest. I'm still unraveling that, and I think I will be for quite some time. But my kind of initial feelings about it were a sense of, whales have a very kind of iconic presence. They're the blue whale is the biggest single living creature, apart from, if you're talking about kind of mushroom kind of networks and stuff like that. It's the biggest animal that's ever lived on the earth. So it has that kind of like totemic quality to it already. But I think the starscape was something to do with the whale, either the physical whale or a kind of, the idea of the whale or the spirit of the whale, holding the universe somehow.
Yeah.
What that means exactly, I don't know, but it symbolized something about the completeness of everything.
Yeah.
Which felt very moving for me to kind of be part of the process of that coming through, but also, you know, in terms of how other people have responded to it as well, it feels like that's been, you know, people, not everybody by any means, because everybody's got their own response to any work.
Yeah.
But there have been some people who've been really, you know, emotionally moved by them.
Yeah.
And that's a, you know, that's a very kind of humbling experience for me as well, to be part of that kind of work that has a meaning and a significance for people wherever they are on their journey.
Yeah. And are you still drawing more whales?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Yes, I think I've done 12 so far, and there've been specific species that I've looked at source images for to kind of inform how I paint them. So there's a degree of accuracy there. But yeah, I'm still painting them. I've diversified slightly. I've kind of done a few other. I did a green sea turtle because we have my wife's cousin and her partner are both marine biologists, and they work specifically with green sea turtles. So I felt we'd had a conversation, and I immediately felt like, okay, I need to do one of those. And there's other species like gold crests, the smallest native British bird. That I've encountered here in our own garden, but also in the woods around our house. And I've painted one of those because I felt like I wanted to respond to that. But I keep coming back to the whales because I feel like they haven't finished with me yet. I feel like there's kind of a longer term journey to do with them. So yeah, the paintings are still going on.
Brilliant. They are gorgeous. I love them. Really lovely. And on a kind of a different theme, but linked, I guess, you also have your mandalas.
Yeah.
What started with those?
So, in fact, that was the piece that I was working on. It was a mandala piece that I was working on when the first whale arrived, and those kind of grew out of a period, quite a difficult kind of personal period at the beginning of last year. I suppose I felt for quite a long time that I want to draw my skills as an image maker and my sense of wanting to explore our connection with the natural world, and my sense of, although I don't really have a label that I kind of define it by, my sense of spirituality, my sense of being both spiritual in my own sense, but also, you know, part of a world that is imbued with spirit as well. Yeah. I felt like I wanted to draw all of that stuff together somehow, but didn't really know how to do it. And these are very rambling answers, aren't they, Martha?
No, it's cool.
I'm realising.
It's supposed to be a chat.
And so we go down to Devon quite a lot, and the beaches there are covered with beautiful pebbles. It's the north coast of Devon, so around the Heartland Peninsula. And many of the stones are they're grey and have like seams of quartz running through them. And so I was kind of beginning to, in fact, you know what it was? I'd been asked to do a project with a school in St Albans, and they'd been looking at rock art. And we ended up evolving this idea of having some spirals of stones on one of their corridor walls, and on these stones we were going to paint icons that represented the experiences of the school and the children in the school, and also teachers and parents as well, so that it created kind of like a story of the community. And as I was sketching for this project, I was just really struck by these beautiful stones and how gorgeous they looked when they were kind of brought together into sort of concentric rings. Yeah. And so we did this lovely project at the school that lasted a few days. But then I headed home and I just jumped into making these pieces for myself. And they were very therapeutic to make for me, because they involved creating something that from my point of view at least, had a sense of real beauty to them. And they also had a connection to the ocean, which has always felt very powerful for me. but almost the repetition of them, of painting lots of stones kind of in, you know, in a consecutive way, and then going back over them and layering some more color on and sort of tending to each one.
Yeah.
Just felt like a really therapeutic process for me. So I've made probably about 12 of those as well. And I feel like I was going to say something else, but I can't remember what it was. But that was the start point for those.
Yeah.
So it kind of came in by the back door through that schools project, but it's, you know, it's led to something else happening for me, which has been great. And what I was going to say is that I was at an arts fair back before Christmas, and there was a friend of mine who's very much from an Eastern tradition in terms of his spirituality, and he came to me and he said, you know, mandalas are very much about bringing the fragment into a whole.
Okay.
And that symbol of unifying that which has been fragmented, that felt really powerful for me on a personal level. It just felt like, oh, I've been doing these things and not necessarily been able to give words to them.
Yeah.
But what he said was like, oh my goodness, that's it. That's completely what it's about. So that's, you know, nothing's excluded. Everything is brought in to the whole and made beautiful. And I just, it's great. Love it.
And is that how you usually get your inspiration? Does it kind of pop in, or are you generally quite kind of structured with how you approach ideas? Because in writing, we have this constant dialogue between the planners and the pantsers. So there are those of us who just start writing, and we don't necessarily what's going to come, or you know, how we're going to get to the end point that we might imagine. And then there are other people who kind of plot out every, you know, scene in the book, and they know everything about everything before they start.
Yes. No, it's definitely, structure is a word that, and that's why I laughed, was my whole, you know, my whole approach to life was pretty chaotic a lot of the time. And I feel like I'm very slowly learning some stuff about the benefits of structure.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I don't feel like there's a great amount of sort of premeditated kind of intention about it. I think, I mean, in terms of what's created, I feel like, you know, the intention is it's kind of a heart thing, really. It's my desire to explore what it means to be alive, and that's kind of where the structure stops. But it's interesting thinking about that now, because actually the whale pieces and the mandala pieces are actually quite structured. Yeah. They are quite structured in themselves. So perhaps that's a kind of subconscious way of me introducing some, you know, both beauty and structure into my chaotic. I don't know, maybe. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds as though your art is quite, there's quite a lot of sort of self-development in that process. Is that right?
Oh, I mean, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I'm kind of consciously seeing it as that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm probably blundering through it quite a lot, again, without a lot of structure. But yeah, I guess it is. I mean, you know, in fact, that friend that I was talking to you about a minute ago, he said another thing about the whales, and he said they have a symbolism about them that's very much about going into the depths. They know the darkness. They know the depths of the ocean. They are able to navigate their migratory routes without the benefit of, you know, seeing things from a satellite or you know, anything like that. They know how to navigate through the darkness, and they come up from the darkness, bringing something with them. And I think that, you know, in terms of self-development, it feels like that's got something to do with it. maybe it's, you know, because it feels like that in some ways, that sense of, you know, plunging into the depths is something that resonates for me from my experiences over the last kind of 18 months or so. You know, what is brought to the surface? You know, I mean, obviously, you know, I'm making work and there's new work coming and all of that. What's brought to the surface in terms of my development as a human, I guess remains to be seen. And that's not for me to, you know, not for me to judge necessarily, or not for me to understand necessarily. But so yeah, I guess that, yeah, I mean, there is a sense of journey about it, I suppose. Yeah, yeah.
Fabulous. And where can people find you? Where can they find your pictures and buy them?
So there is, I mean, these new pieces are just beginning to kind of make their way out. So I have an online shop, which I guess there'll be links to. So that's the easiest way if you're not local to where I am in Hertfordshire to get them. I've just had some work taken by a gallery in Wendover, which is called the Little Bird Told Me Gallery. So there's some work there. And I'm also going to be doing a solo show there next February. So that's going to be a kind of a bringing together of lots of the work. I'm also going to be at the Chillickbury Arts Fair, north of St Albans, in July. That's the first weekend of July, I think. So I'll be there for 3 days. But the main way to get a hold of my work at the moment is through my, and I've also got some pieces at the Clavelli Pottery in North Devon. So I took some down because of the strong connection with that part of the world. There's a gallery where I've had work previously that have just taken some original pieces and prints and cards as well. But yeah, for people who are not local to any of those places, then I have an online shop. My website is currently needing development to accommodate all of this new stuff, because it's very much talking about the work that I've been doing in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have reference to all of this new stuff. So that's my next big kind of project, is to get the website fully speaking this kind of new work.
Brilliant. So it's Etsy, I think, your shop.
Yeah, it's an Etsy shop. Yeah.
Cool. And we'll put links about all of that at the bottom. So do go and have a look. And there are, as well as the original pieces of art, there are also prints and cards, aren't there? There are greetings.
Right. Well. There are, yes. Yeah.
So thank you very much for listening. And if you would like to see more interviews, you can visit my website, which is www.marthadunlop.com. And you can also find me on Facebook and on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube. So do come along and find me. I do interact, I do chat, and I would love to meet you there. So thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.